Today we're going to talk about the complex system. So let's go. Do you know that there's everything that you have? The armor, the immune system, and the factories to attack. But one of the most importantness and most effectiveness immune systems is the complex system. It has been formed over many years ago, and now it has been still along with us. Now in your bloodstream has tons of them, but it could still be really dangerous. And imagining how it would be like if you had billions of bombs in your bloodstream and could go off at any moment. That's why your cells will reproduce to keep out these effects, or otherwise they might suffer from it. Okay, but what makes them so dangerous at all? The complex system does 3 things. 1. It cripbles enemies. 2. It awakes the immune system. And 3. It bursts it. It grips hold in enemies until they burst and dies. But how could they do that? These helpless proteins just flutter around. Well, that's the part. Imagining what good. That is how they attack. And the floating proteins are the parts because it goes like a puzzle building. And the more puzzle we build, the more effective it could affect onto enemies. So you can see that. So in your normal shape, imagine in your normal shape, you didn't do nothing, right? But in your active shape, you active and begins to suffer. A complex system has many free things, and as it combines, it needs to combine the same shape to make it fast, to make it complete. And as this quickly wipes, and as it actives a shape, it may widespread the shape, which then spreads to other shapes. So that's how it happens. And okay, so let's start it. So let's imagine if you accidentally get a cut and a punch and a bunch of bacteria and millions of bacteria enter the same wounds, ready to attack your body. That is when your first complex proteins attack. C3. C3 then split into 2 pieces, C3b and C3a. Soon as the C3a rushes, and soon as the C3b tries to use its own might to try to get the bacteria before it encounters water and then dissolves fast. But if it gets a chance to get there, then good luck, bacteria. Bacteria. No, it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, that's because the bacteria. Oh wait. Okay, so let's continue. Let me see. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so let's continue. If the bacteria gets attacked, then the C3b and lands on, and after a while, it turns into a C3 converter. All the other complex proteins begin on the same building and begin on the same work. Soon after a moment, thousands of C3 complexes, C3 converters were on the bacteria, which is a problem for it. It causes it is slowing the bacteria down. And for the weekend, do you remember the C3a? Well, they were in your bloodstream, ready to find a new kind of immune system. And as the more immune system it gets, the more higher chances the bacteria may be killed easily. And as the next immune system attacks, your complex system has been arriving, ready for the next immune system attack. Soon, hundreds of bacteria, soon millions of bacteria were being infected, were being caught on with the complex proteins. And the immune system, the phagocytes, yeah. A phagocyte was like a giant creature which swallows you up, trap you into a small poison, and digest you with acid. But to swallow the enemy first, it needs to grab it first, which is a problem since bacteria is not supposed to come sleepy as they were should. Luckily, with the converter rate, it helps the bacteria. It helps the phagocyte to grasp on and then pulls along the bacteria, which is a perfect time. Yeah, they were easy to be able to clean up. And if all the bacteria were completed, then the phagocytes have chances to eat them before they have chances to run away. That's a good idea, right? Okay, but there's more. Do you know the explosion? Well, this is when they were ready for the attack contents. When tons of D4 enters, it forms a huge hole, which then bursts everything from the inside. Soon as tons of objects flew out, the bacteria dies. But even the bacteria are saying like that, viruses are even more to come like a perfect meal. Viruses infect cells, which is a hard time. Since cells may be too far from away, since they are just like tiny little invaders. And since the complex proteins get chances to catch on, they are swallowed by phagocytes easily. Okay, but why would this special immune system attacks? Why would we still get sick? Well, the problem is, even though it's extremely powerful, it wasn't as powerful as some of the invaders, since some viruses and bacteria have evolved to know that there's a secret and was be able to know how to effective. So let's start it with one. Let's imagine with a vaccinated virus, which then infects the cell and creates a special protective which then causes C3 bees not to be able to infect it. And as it creates a zone, when new viruses emerge, they surround around the cells. Some bacteria will also be able, and bacteria, they will sometimes be able to use tiny molecules, which calms down the complex system, complex proteins, and save their lives by turning them invisible. So you can see, even though we have a powerful mighty weapon, we aren't as powerful as the brainful invaders. Well, except one. That's why the complex system is not alone. They are along with other immune systems, which is like a tiny family, ready to attack and kill the invaders as much as possible. So you can see that. So goodbye everybody, I'll see you next time. Goodbye!